Okay, so this is my healer build. But a couple things first. One is when playing a healer, there's a couple things you need to know. Okay, the first thing is you need to know is that it's okay to let people die, especially DPS. DPS all have major egos, and sometimes you just gotta knock them down a little bit. Show them who's boss, put them in line. The second thing about being a healer that you always need to know is that you are the living embodiment of a god, essentially. I mean, life and death for the raid is in your hands. So, you make sure that people are aware at all times how awesome you are. It's very important. It makes the raid much more efficient. The third thing I found as a healer that you need to know is if you hit a chem shot and get somebody from a long distance, make sure you yell in the raid so that everyone knows how awesome that shot was. Just important. And then the fourth thing as a healer is you need to be humble. So here's the healer build that I have. So the first one I have is the old. This is like the old healer build. Actually, first of all, weapons don't matter for a healer. In all honesty, you're not going to be shooting that often. Just use whatever the situation calls for. Typically, I have the Eagle Bearer, Sweet Dreams on some bosses or some fights, but like really, it doesn't. Weapons don't really matter. From This is the old healer build. It's not really. I don't really use this one anymore, but if you have it, it's certainly still fine. It's basically 3-piece Alp Summit, 2 pieces of Murakami, and the BTSU gloves. The BTSU gloves will actually I use in all of my healer builds just to reset hives and overcharge if needed. But to be honest, it's mostly used for resetting hives. Uh, with this build, the empathic resolve is what you want on your chest piece, and for your backpack, you want safeguard. Now, with the new FI stuff, future initiative stuff, there's kind of two ways you can do it. Both are good. The first way is if you go with 4-piece future initiative, backpack and chest, and then the holster is Alp Summit, just for the extra 20% repair skills. A couple things about future initiative is that the 3-piece bonus, or the bonus is the 3-piece bonus is that sorry, 4 pieces actually. Ground control, basically that you give your allies when they're at full armor, 15% more damage, and also that whenever you heal somebody, you also get 60% of that heal, and anybody within 5 meters of you gets that heal as well. It's really useful in certain situations. So if you heal somebody, with a hive or the cam, anybody near you will also get that heal. With the chest piece, the nice thing about the chest piece is that you get the tactical superiority, which basically bumps up the damage increase to skill and weapon damage from 15% to 25% while that person's at full armor. Doesn't matter if they're healed or not, as long as they're at full armor, they get that buff. With the backpack, what it does is it strategic combat support. It basically bounces or brings that heal up, that heal when anybody near you, from 60% to 120%. Now it's really useful in some situations where everyone's crowded around, because they basically every time you heal someone else, everyone around you is getting free heals. I like that. I used a lot of the third boss, but I've kind of gotten away from it. What I run now is I run basically the safeguard backpack instead. So I still run 4-piece future initiative. But what I run now is the safeguard. So basically, I run the mask, the chest piece, the holster, and the knee pads. Again, the chest piece is critical because it gives the raid 25% more damage. And then I run safeguard in the backpack. I'm finding as we do raids more and more, I'm not always getting hit as much anymore. So having that basically the way safeguard works is when you're at 100% armor, it increases your skill repair by 100%. So essentially, it doubles your skill repair while you're at 100% armor. Where that's super useful is the hive, because the hive, if you look at the stats on the hive doesn't heal. It's a slower heal, and it doesn't heal all that much. The nice thing about the hive is it's you don't have to do anything; it just heals, but it's a slower heal. So if you're running safeguard, it essentially doubles your slower heal, which is incredibly useful. As for mods on your gear, that's kind of up to you and how you want to do it. So skill haste, you can go with skill haste mods, but they won't help your hive because your hive the lowest cooldown it can have is 1 second per charge. So it won't really benefit your hive that much. It'll reduce the cooldown on your chem launcher, which is nice. But if you're not really running out of chems, it's not a huge deal. Repair skills, you can go with repair skill mods. Again, all of that does is increase your healing. The one I've kind of used the most lately is the skill duration. The reason why I use the skill duration is it doesn't help your hive in any way, shape, or form. Well, it makes your hive last longer, but that's never really an issue. What it does is it makes it so that your chem stays on the ground longer. Your chem's your big heal, right? It's your emergency heal, but it also heals for a ton. So if you look at the stats, remember the hive was at 390,000. If you look at the chem, it sits at the chem's right here. It sits at 1.3 million. Okay, so with safeguard on, that's basically a 2.6. So it's a full heal on most people like tanks. But the duration makes it last longer on the ground, right? And on certain fights like Williams, that's super good because now you're not having to chem the tanks and everybody as much, right? I think a full mod will probably get you like 0.5 seconds extra. So if you go 2 or 3 mods, you get an extra 1.5 second on your chem duration. Obviously skills, pretty simple. It's basically you're using your hive and your chem. A couple things about the chem, just in case you didn't know that. If you just hit the button real quickly and don't aim it, it'll shoot your feet. Super useful when you're running around and you gotta get from point A to point B, but somebody's hurt on the way. You can literally just run, shoot your feet, and then keep going. Aiming it, it's like the chem launcher, nothing special about it. And then your hive, it's got a pretty big radius. You can see here how much it will heal. The farther you're away from it, the slower it takes to heal. So you kind of want to position it near as many people as you can get it. That way it will heal us faster. And since you're running the BTUSU gloves, a couple things on the overcharge that I screwed up when I was first doing this is that if you need to overcharge, make sure your hive is not near you. Otherwise, your character, instead of overcharging, will pick it up. And also a couple things on your hive too is when you're in certain fights, your hive won't run out of charges before its duration will decrease. So just monitor it, and every so often, if you can, just pick it up, put it back down, and you'll reset the duration. And usually I'll pick it up depending on how many charges are left on it, and depending on how the fights go, I might just pick it up just so that I can get some more charges back onto it before I put it back down. And I think that covers everything on my healer.